the best way to cut your bad habits? What is like the most effective way to cut your bad habits? How can you eliminate your bad habits, right? How can you get to a place where you're asking yourself, do I want to continue to fall into these patterns, and I want to do I want to fall into these cycles anymore? Why am I allowing myself or subjecting myself to falling to the same patterns and the same cycles, right? Like, you're gonna get to a place where you're not gonna want to do it anymore. Or maybe you'll get to a place where you're forced to not do it anymore, and you have to make that change outside of yourself, and you're forced to make that change outside of yourself. Because little do you really know that the best way to eliminate any bad habit or any addiction is to do it until you don't want to do it anymore. Now, there are things you need to go through, and maybe that's what you need to go through, the viewer, because you are like this vine that's trying to grow and trying to prosper and trying to flow, but you have, along the way, you have these your leaves are turning yellow. You have these leaves that are turning yellow, and inevitably these yellow leaves, they're going to slow down your growth. They're going to slow down maybe your maturity growth, maybe your spiritual growth, maybe your developmental growth, and it's going to get in the way of your development and in your, even your conscious growth, and your, maybe perhaps your spiritual growth. But these will be blockages along the way. They will block you from growing along the way and evolving along the way. So how do you get rid of those? Well, these are the bad habits. You do the bad habits until you don't want to do them anymore, right? You're going to find yourself in a place where you just don't feel like you have the need to do that thing that you desired so much to do and you were driven so much to do, right? You're not going to have any desires. You're not going to have any temptations. You're not going to have any drive to go ahead and do that thing. Now, maybe that means that it has to do with scrolling on social media 8 hours a day, or vaping every 30 minutes. You have to go outside and smoke and vape. You're basically going to do this, the so-called thing that is the bad habit or the addiction that you have and that you are carrying and that you are cycling. You're going to do that until you don't want to do that anymore, until you don't have any temptation to go out and do that thing that you had the desire to do, and you had the drive and the focus to go out and do. And when you don't have that desire anymore, you burn up that desire by doing it by doing it for so long, or doing it for a certain amount of time. Then you're going to burn up that temptation. You're going to burn up that fire that is within you, that is allowing you that is possessing you to go out and do that said thing that you don't maybe feel good doing, or you don't actually enjoy doing, or it's so-called a bad habit or an addiction or a vice. But you do it, this is, you will eventually cut it off, and that's a part of the process to get to the other side and to transcend something, is to get to a point where you don't want to do it anymore, and you don't care to do it anymore, and you have zero interest, and you have zero desire, and you have zero motivation and drive to do the so-called thing. So that is how you eliminate your bad or toxic habits, is you do your bad or your toxic habits. That is the best way to do it. Because if you try and stop cold turkey, and you try and just, I'm gonna stop now, I'm gonna stop tomorrow, and then you just force yourself to just quit whatever addiction, whatever bad habit it is, then you're more than likely to fall into like this relapse state where you get very unhinged and you go out and do something way worse than you really wanted to go out and do, to fill that void, because you were withholding yourself from doing the thing that is calling you to go do it. And that is the addiction, that is the vice, that is the bad habit. So the point is to do the things you are called to do until you don't want to do them anymore, until you burn up that fire within you, that desire within you to later on, or to then not want to do it anymore. So if you are trying to quit a bad habit or a vice of any sort, if it's like doing a drug, or if it's like just scrolling on TikTok, or if you have like a video game addiction. All right, my camera died. So one of the best methods, one of the best methods to eliminating your bad habits, your vices, your addictions, is to not try to eliminate your bad habits, your vices, and your addictions. That might sound counterintuitive,